The latest developments on Little Singles have given viewers one of the most emotional moments of the season, as a disagreement between Stephanie and Sammy took an unexpected turn. What began as a conversation about flirting quickly escalated into a tense exchange that ultimately ended with Stephanie walking away. The exclusive preview has already sparked widespread discussion among fans, with many wondering whether the disagreement was simply a misunderstanding or a sign of deeper compatibility issues. Throughout the season, viewers have watched relationships develop naturally as the cast members spent more time getting to know one another. While many interactions have been lighthearted and filled with laughter, the dating experience has also brought moments of uncertainty. Building a new relationship is rarely straightforward, especially in a group setting where everyone is meeting multiple people and trying to discover genuine connections. The exclusive scene captures Stephanie and Sammy sitting down to discuss something that had clearly been weighing on Stephanie's mind. Rather than avoiding the topic, she chooses to address it directly. Her concerns center around Sammy's interactions with other women in the group. Although the environment encourages everyone to explore potential relationships, Stephanie appears to feel that Sammy's behavior crossed a line that made her uncomfortable. From the beginning of the discussion, both participants seem determined to explain their perspectives. Stephanie calmly expresses how certain actions made her question Sammy's intentions. Instead of focusing on a single incident, she appears to be speaking about an overall pattern that left her feeling uncertain about where she stood in the relationship. Sammy, meanwhile, responds by explaining that the purpose of the experience is to meet different people before making any final decisions. He suggests that friendly conversations should not automatically be interpreted as romantic interest. His explanation reflects one of the biggest challenges of reality dating shows, where participants are encouraged to keep an open mind while also forming meaningful connections. As the conversation continues, it becomes increasingly clear that Stephanie and Sammy are approaching the situation from different perspectives. Stephanie seems to value reassurance and consistency, while Sammy believes he has been acting within the expectations of the dating experience. Neither appears to be questioning the other's character, but they struggle to agree on what respectful behavior should look like during this stage of getting to know one another. This difference in expectations creates noticeable tension. Stephanie continues asking questions that suggest she wants clarity about Sammy's feelings. Rather than receiving the reassurance she hopes for, she appears frustrated by answers that she believes leave too much room for uncertainty. The discussion gradually becomes more emotional. Viewers can sense that Stephanie is not simply reacting to one conversation, but to the cumulative effect of several moments that have caused her to question whether she can fully trust the connection. Her expressions and body language indicate disappointment more than anger, suggesting that she had hoped for a different outcome. Sammy also attempts to explain his position, emphasizing that getting to know multiple people is part of the process. He appears surprised that his actions have had such a significant impact on Stephanie. From his perspective, maintaining friendly conversations with others does not necessarily mean he lacks genuine interest in Stephanie. One of the most compelling aspects of the exchange is that both sides present arguments that many viewers can understand. Some people believe exclusivity should develop naturally only after both individuals clearly agree on it. Others feel that once a strong emotional connection begins to form, certain behaviors, such as openly flirting with others, can create unnecessary confusion and hurt feelings. Reality dating programs often place contestants in situations that magnify these differences. Unlike traditional dating, participants are surrounded by potential romantic interests every day. Conversations that might seem harmless in everyday life can take on entirely different meanings when emotions are already involved. As the conversation continues, Stephanie appears increasingly dissatisfied with Sammy's responses. Rather than feeling reassured, she seems to conclude that they are simply not seeing the situation in the same way. This realization becomes the turning point in the discussion. Eventually, Stephanie decides to end the conversation by walking away. Her decision immediately changes the mood of the scene. Instead of continuing an argument that appears to be going nowhere, she chooses to remove herself from the situation. The moment is quiet but emotionally significant, highlighting just how disappointed she has become. Walking away can mean different things in different circumstances. Sometimes it reflects anger, while other times it represents a desire to avoid saying something that might make the situation worse. In this case, viewers are left to interpret Stephanie's decision based on what they have seen unfold during the discussion. The exclusive preview ends without providing immediate resolution, leaving audiences wondering whether the pair will eventually reconnect or whether this disagreement marks a major turning point in their relationship. That uncertainty has become one of the biggest talking points among fans following the release of the clip. Moments like this illustrate why Little Singles continues to attract attention from viewers interested in relationship dynamics. Rather than focusing only on dramatic confrontations, the series often highlights the everyday challenges of communication. Misunderstandings, differing expectations, and emotional vulnerability are experiences that many people can relate to, even outside the context of reality television. Another factor contributing to the intensity of the scene is the pressure of filming. Participants are not only navigating new relationships, but doing so while cameras document every conversation. That environment can amplify emotions, making disagreements feel even more significant than they might in private. The discussion between Stephanie and Sammy also raises broader questions about what flirting means. Different people define flirting in different ways. Some view friendly conversations and compliments as harmless, while others see those same behaviors as signs of romantic interest. Without clearly established boundaries, misunderstandings can develop quickly. Communication becomes especially important in situations like these. Even when two people care about one another, they may have entirely different expectations regarding exclusivity, openness, and emotional commitment. The exclusive clip demonstrates how easily those differences can surface when assumptions replace direct conversations. Viewers have also noted the contrast in communication styles. Stephanie appears focused on expressing how certain actions affected her emotionally, while Sammy concentrates on explaining his intentions. Although both approaches are understandable, they do not always address each other's concerns directly, allowing frustration to build. As the episode unfolds, audiences will likely learn whether additional conversations take place after Stephanie leaves. Reality television previews often showcase the most dramatic moments while leaving out important context that appears later in the full episode. Because of that, many fans are reserving judgment until they have seen the complete sequence of events. Regardless of how the situation ultimately resolves, the scene has already succeeded in generating significant conversation. Viewers continue debating whether Sammy should have provided more reassurance, whether Stephanie's concerns were justified, or whether both individuals simply approached the dating experience with different expectations. Ultimately, the disagreement serves as a reminder that relationships are rarely defined by a single conversation. Instead, they are shaped by ongoing communication, mutual understanding, and a willingness to listen. Whether Stephanie and Sammy can move past this difficult moment remains one of the biggest questions surrounding the latest episode. With emotions running high and unanswered questions remaining, viewers will undoubtedly be eager to see what happens next when the full episode reveals the aftermath of Stephanie's decision to walk away. When the full episode continues after Stephanie walks away, the emotional weight of the conversation doesn't simply disappear. Instead, it lingers over the group, creating an atmosphere noticeably different from the playful energy that had defined much of the trip. Moments earlier, everyone had been focused on enjoying the experience and exploring new connections. Now, one difficult conversation has shifted the mood, reminding everyone just how emotionally invested the participants have become. Stephanie's departure leaves Sammy sitting alone for a few moments, giving him time to reflect on what had just happened. Rather than immediately chasing after her, he appears to process the discussion in silence. His expression suggests that he may not have expected the disagreement to reach that point. Throughout the conversation, he seemed confident that explaining his intentions would ease Stephanie's concerns. Instead, his explanations appeared to have the opposite effect. That realization can be difficult in any relationship. Sometimes people believe that if they simply explain what they meant, the misunderstanding will disappear. Yet emotional conversations rarely revolve solely around intentions. They often center on how actions are perceived and how those actions make another person feel. The gap between intention and impact becomes one of the defining themes of this disagreement. Meanwhile, Stephanie takes time away from the group to collect her thoughts. Rather than appearing impulsive, her decision to leave the conversation seems measured. Walking away gives her space to process emotions that had clearly been building over several interactions rather than one isolated incident. Her disappointment appears rooted in the feeling that she was not receiving the clarity or reassurance she had hoped for. This quiet moment also highlights something that reality dating shows rarely capture in full. While viewers often remember dramatic confrontations, many important decisions happen during the moments afterward, when participants are alone with their thoughts. Without the immediate pressure of responding, people begin evaluating whether the relationship is truly meeting their emotional needs. Other members of the cast begin noticing that something has changed. Although everyone has been focused on their own romantic journeys, living together naturally means becoming aware of shifts in the group's dynamic. A disagreement between two people can quickly influence the atmosphere for everyone else, especially when friendships have developed alongside the romantic connections. Some cast members appear sympathetic towards Stephanie, recognizing how uncertainty can create anxiety when feelings begin growing stronger. Others understand Sammy's position, acknowledging that the purpose of the experience is to meet several potential partners before deciding where a genuine connection exists. This split reflects the same debate now taking place among viewers. The differing reactions demonstrate that there is rarely a universally accepted answer when it comes to dating expectations. Some people believe emotional exclusivity begins long before an official commitment is made. Others feel that, until a relationship is clearly defined, both individuals should remain free to explore every opportunity available to them. That difference in philosophy doesn't necessarily mean either approach is wrong. Instead, it emphasizes the importance of discussing expectations early. When assumptions replace conversations, even two well-intentioned people can find themselves moving in completely different directions without realizing it. As Sammy reflects on the exchange, he begins recognizing that Stephanie may not have been questioning whether he was allowed to speak with other women. Instead, she may have been searching for reassurance that she remained his strongest connection. Those are two very different conversations, and confusing one for the other can lead to exactly the type of misunderstanding viewers witnessed. Stephanie, meanwhile, appears to be asking herself another difficult question. Even if Sammy genuinely meant no harm, can a relationship succeed when two people naturally interpret the same situations so differently? Compatibility extends beyond attraction. It includes communication styles, emotional needs, and shared expectations about trust and commitment. This episode quietly explores that larger reality. Strong chemistry can bring two people together, but sustaining a relationship often depends on whether they can navigate uncomfortable conversations without feeling unheard. The disagreement between Stephanie and Sammy becomes less about flirting itself and more about whether they possess compatible approaches to resolving conflict. As anticipation builds for what comes next, viewers are left wondering whether time apart will help both participants reconsider their perspectives or reinforce the belief that they simply want different things from a relationship. The answers remain uncertain, but one thing is clear. This conversation has changed the direction of their journey, and the emotional consequences are only beginning to unfold.